Good morning. It is, for the record, January 13th, 2022. This is our regular business development advisor training, our weekly training. And today, what we are going to go through is we are going to do a sales pitch meeting. So I want to hear from everyone about how they're talking to agents, and we'll all be able to give constructive criticism and make some changes and small tweaks to help everyone become more effective at talking to agents and supporting them and earning their contract. That's the first step. I mean, the support side is on the back end, but without earning their contracts, then they can't write business with us. We can't earn overrides. There's no reason for us to support them. So that's the first conversation that we want to have. And so I want to hear from we have Debbie and Jake on. The other ones right now are either running late or have already mentioned that they aren't able to make it. So we can hear the recording. So we get to spend some one-on-one time together, basically, well, 2-on-1 time, and have that conversation. So, I mean, Debbie, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I only have two choices. So.
No, that's fine.
I will let you start, and then we'll just go round robin and have that discussion. But the main pitch that you're using right now, go through it. You're calling in. I'll be the agent that you're calling. So you can, I'm Nathan. I'm an independent producer, and go ahead with your pitch, and we will go from there.
Okay.
And I'm gonna take myself off video so that you can actually get the feel of just calling someone.
Okay. So just a preface on this,
Yep.
Yvette and I have been going back and forth on a script. And so this is the latest one.
Perfect. I get to hear the latest script that you guys have.
Yeah.
The floor is yours, Debbie.
Okay. So hi, is this Nathan?
This is Nathan.
Hi, Nathan. My name is Debbie, and I just want to let you know I'm not calling to sell you anything, but I actually work with Praxis Agency Consulting, and we work with agents and advisors like yourself to help them grow their business and, to put plainly, make more money, which I know is a really good word. If you have just a few minutes, I'd like to share what we offer. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I'm sure that you have a lot going on, so I will be brief. At Praxis, what we do is, in our capacity as an IMO, is simply to bring value to our agents by offering proprietary programs that aren't offered elsewhere. I know you've heard of AIG Insurance Company, but have you heard of AIG Partners Group?
I believe I've heard the name, but I'm not terribly familiar with them.
Okay. Well, what this is it's one of our proprietary arrangements that we offer free of charge. And what we do with it is pretty easy and pretty cool. So for example, let's say that you have your book of business and your list of prospects. Most likely, most of them have a mortgage, right?
Correct.
Okay. So you can actually just give them a quick call and offer them something really unique with this program. You can actually offer them customized mortgage insurance based on a number of years that they have left to cover. So let's say, for example, you have 12 years left on your mortgage, then you can offer them a 12-year term. So that's pretty unique, and they usually drop whatever coverage they have in favor of this one. It also allows you for full conversion to an indexed universal life policy, or something that would suit them better once that you get into a discussion with them on that. Oh, I guess that was for me to say. Oh, no. Okay. Their IULs under this program are also awesome because they don't have any caps on their index trackers. So they can usually actually get uncapped growth within the safety of the policy. It's a great reason to call them, a great door opener for you. The term policy is affordable. The term policy is also affordable that you'll hardly get any no's. We find that the agents who offer this to their book of business are often increasing their annual bottom line by at least $50,000. And again, like I said, it's all free. There's nothing that you have to buy. We would just need to get you contracted with AIG Partners Group through us. Sound good? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do like a lot of things that you're saying. I'd be interested in learning a little bit more about the product. Is there something that you can send me over?
I sure can. I don't know what that is. I sure can. Um, okay, you'll also have access to our fully automated quoting, which I can help you with, and access to accelerated underwriting to speed up the cases through the closing. We also offer nice compensation for you, some other programs like this one. But like I said, I'm sorry. We can get you started or we can roll the rest out later. Can you tell me a little bit about your business? Like, what is your target and what do you enjoy selling most?
I mean, I do a decent amount of, my main focus is retirement planning. So I do a lot with annuities and maximally funded life insurance. So mainly sticking to index universal life and things like that. And that's really where my focus is for my practice. And it's just me. But I've been doing this for, over 5 years and love it.
Oh, cool. Okay, perfect. That really helps me know you better. So I just made a few notes. Let me just jot down your email address and I can send over some information about AIG Partners Group. So your email address, can you just give it to me again?
Yep, the best one is anclude@praxisacg.com. Blah, blah, blah.
Yada, yada, yada.
Nathan?
Yes.
Houston?
Hello? Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Oh, hello?
Hi.
Lost you for a second.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird. Hold on one second. Test, test, test.
You heard her though ask for your email, right?
Yeah, and I gave it.
Okay.
Oh,
anclude@praxisacg.com. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know what happened there though. That's weird.
yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll send over some initial AIG Partners contact information. Let's go ahead and schedule a call for this coming Monday so we can review everything. I want to be clear that I am an agent advocate. I'm not a licensed agent, so I'd like to jump on a call with our, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. So I'd like you to jump on a call with our agency owner. She can really answer some in-depth questions and help you with some marketing and income building. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Okay, so we set up the stuff, whatever. Thank you. Bye. Whew.
How do you feel?
I don't like this one. Sorry.
I'm not going to there's some great points in there. I'm not going to completely disagree with. So you already said that you don't like it. What don't
Yeah.
you like about it?
No, I don't feel like it flows really well. I don't feel like I was engaging. I don't feel like it helped me get the information that I needed. I don't feel like it was like, hey, boom, here. It was too long. There's just a lot about it I didn't really like.
I understand that. All right, so then we'll talk about some changes in a little bit, and what I'll do is because I know we've done it in the past, but I'll do the one that we created as well.
Yeah.
And review that and how we go about doing that and seeing what you like about each one, and take some notes down and make some tweaks. But before I do that, we'll talk a little bit more about it. But Jake, you want to take a swing at
it? Mine or hers?
Not like hers, but
not her, but like AIG Partners Group.
Yeah, do the AIG Partners Group script.
Okay.
I'll hear you do it.
Okay. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, is this Nathan?
This is Nathan.
Hey, Nathan. This is Jake with Praxis. We're a consulting firm that work with agents like you. And one of our main goals is really try to support you guys in providing some additional options to portfolios through contract options. And I was hoping you had a few minutes that we might be able to talk about what you're offering and what we might be able to help you out with.
I mean, I got contracts up the yin yang. What makes this any different?
Well, one thing about this is we have access to a large amount of carriers, actually over 100. And there are a couple that we've come to find a lot of agents aren't aware of all the time. And so we want to try and get the word out because they've got some nice benefits to your clients as well as some nice little perks for the agents.
I mean, I would never write 100 different carriers. What carrier are you talking about?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit with you about AIG Partners Group, but I guess first and foremost, the better question that I should ask is, what do you tend to focus on when you are looking to try and sell with your clients?
I mean, I'm really in the term and I'll make this easy. Term and IULs.
Okay. Well, that's great. That's exactly what I want to hear because that is where AIG Partners Group excels. Are you familiar with AIG Partners Group?
Yeah, I am actually. I wrote them in the past before, but haven't wrote them in a while.
Well, so I guess let me make sure I'm clear with myself. You're familiar with AIG Partners Group specifically, or AIG? Also, sometimes people call them AIG brokerage.
Yeah, AIG Partners Group, so the side that does the QLL and living benefits.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind me asking, then why did you tend to pull away when you're focused with term and IULs? What caused you to kind of pull away from writing more business with AIG Partners Group?
And we switched the IMO that we were with, and the new IMO didn't have AIG Partners Group, so we switched some of the carriers that we did.
Okay. So one thing that I would want to say, Praxis is an IMO, then that's why we're able to provide these things. But we play nice in the sandbox with others. We're not looking to demand that you change contracts, leave other IMOs. But we would love to be able to help fill in gaps, provide more depth. And so with knowing that, would AIG Partners Group be something that you would be interested in being able to bring back into your portfolio?
Oh yeah, I mean, I like the contract beforehand. Would love to have it in my portfolio again. Is there anything that's changed or with them?
Well, right now, the typical advantages with their term life, they have that ability to have their customization policies with the term. So as you know, it's great for that mortgage protection. It's got those regular term intervals plus that 15 to 30 year customization, as I'm sure you're familiar with. It also has its living benefits built in, as well as it's great for laddering with the additional discounts when multiple policies are built together. Was that how it was for you when you were originally writing it?
Yeah, same thing.
Great. And then you also mentioned the IULs, and obviously, again, as you know, the AIG Partners Group is great with their IUL. And for the most part, I'm confident it's relatively the same, if not perfectly identical. But they have that robust list of riders with the built-in benefits and that huge advantage of being able to hit the accelerated underwriting if it's under $1 million of death benefit, and the individual is 50, or I guess 49 years or younger. Is that how it was when you were writing that part as well?
It wasn't as high as that.
Well, and actually the great part, I'm glad to give you that news, but also I have even better news with that. It's not happening, or it's not in place right now, but they are looking and considering it, trying to push their underwriting into some of their other lines, as well as considering raising that limit up to the 2 million mark, where I know a lot of other carriers have that ability to do accelerated underwriting up to 2 million. So they haven't pulled it over yet, but it is something that they're looking at. So knowing that you've got that slight increase already from what you're used to, but also that all the other parts that you are familiar with are still there. Is that something you'd like to look at being able to bring back into your portfolio?
Absolutely.
Well, I would love then to be able to get you the contracting link and the contracting information so you can go ahead and work through that, where you can get contracted with us. And then what also I'm going to do in that email is I'm going to send you over some training videos on where you're going to be able to log in to get access to quote software and comparison software. Is that something that already your IMO provides you?
Yeah, we have a lot of that stuff, but I don't have access to it with the AIG Partners Group stuff. So if you can
Okay,
set
well,
that
you
up, that'd
would
great.
be able, you would through this be able to quote, but also with this, you would have access to the comparison tool where I understand that right now we're just talking about AIG Partners Group, but as I mentioned before, we have access to over 100 carriers. And through this software, you would be able to also see comparison of AIG Partners Group against other carriers that we had. So if there happened to end up being something that you caught an eye on and were interested because it was a great option, you would be, we could go and have a conversation about that later. And there are a couple carriers that, you know, once we get going with this, I think it would be a great time to have some other talks about how we can add some additional things to your portfolio to make you even more rounded, to be able to help out your clients even better. Does that sound like something you want to move forward with, getting that contracting taken care of?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Well, I'll go ahead. Let me confirm your email address real quick, and then we'll go ahead and get that contracting over. And then maybe we can set up a time to down in the future to be able to talk about some more options that might be of interest to you.
That sounds like a plan.
Great. And good.
Click. All right, how do you think that went, Jake?
I think it went, I didn't start out traditionally. I tried to push faster to questions, as you and I have talked. My goal there was to try and be more engaging, more question oriented. So I hope that I accomplished that. But I thought it went pretty okay, and being able to go around some of the little hiccups that you tossed in there. Although, yes, you did make it easy by saying your focus wasn't where it was. But I thought it was okay.
What about yourself, Debbie?
I thought it was good.
What did you like about it?
I liked his engagement. I liked that he got to the point. I like that he had like the information, it's boom, boom, boom. And then he would, kind of came back to you and said, was it like that when you were there? So bringing you back to the fact that he acknowledges the fact that you had already had experience with them.
Perfect. Anything that you guys see that you wish that could have been done different on either one of them, specifically that you saw and would like to change for the next time you do it?
Well, I thought Nathan's was great. I am not happy with mine at all. So, no, I don't mean at all, but
I was gonna say, like, just trash the whole thing.
no. No, just want to retweak it a little bit,
That makes sense. Good morning, Jeff. You're muted.
Let's try that again. Good morning, Nathan. Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning. Good morning. We are, you missed Jake and Debbie's pitch, Jeff.
I'll have to catch it on the recording.
I was gonna say we got the recording. So today is a pitch day. So hearing how everyone's talking to agents and then us just giving critiques and stuff like that, so that we can see what we can change, because we've done a lot of training and value props in different aspects, but where the rubber meets the road is on actually how we talk to agents and how we earn their contracts. So we're going through the tail end of Jake's. Jake just finished his script, and now we're just giving critiques.
So the one thing I would say about that was true, I thought, for both of ours. Now, I had a reasoning for why I did it, but I would be curious on your thought on this, Nathan, but I know Debbie nor I commented on the 20% bonus, production bonus.
That is correct.
Now, for Debbie's, Debbie, I think that's a big factor in my mind. Letting them know that if they're, so I guess let me back up. The reason why I didn't do it, and again, still I should have checked, as I had been checking. The reason why I didn't do it was because, as far as I've been aware, AIG Partners Group has always offered their 20% production bonus. And so knowing that Nathan had gone through this before, he was aware of it. And therefore it seemed not that it's not a selling point, but it didn't seem nearly as important as it was just more so if I established he liked, in my opinion, if I established he liked the product before and it wasn't his goal to give it up, he just gave it up because he changed IMOs or they changed IMOs and they no longer had it. I didn't know if it was necessarily nearly as something that I need to touch on. But if you're interacting with someone that hasn't had AIG Partners Group before, or also if they don't even know about it, that production bonus, I think, is a really big selling point. That is the ability to have a great product that provides benefits to the clients. So you can touch on that point where everyone says, well, it's all about the client, while also giving great individual perks back to the agent, which is in the form of that production bonus. So that production bonus, to be detailed about that, is once they hit $30,000 of target premium in that year, everything above that, there's a 20% production bonus on what they would earn. So the example we typically give is easy math. If you write $50,000 in the year, you would get a $4,000 check extra at the end of the year. And I think that is very appealing to a lot of people. Nathan, what is your opinion on my statement behind why I didn't do the state about the production bonus? Is it valid or still something I should talk about?
It's a good point. So I think it's always something that needs to be brought up.
Okay.
I mean, he may not have achieved the production bonus last time for whatever reason. He may not remember it. That's just a good thing to always bring up, especially so. 2 rules of working with agents is number 1 is you don't mess with their money. Rule number 2 is you don't forget rule number 1. Reminding them about things that help them make more money for doing the same activity is always going to be a value proposition that most agents, the vast majority of them are going to want to hear about. And that's
Sure.
one of those hooks. So anytime that you can do that and talk about this is going to help them create more revenue, it's going to put more money in their pocket. Always bring up points like that. And it doesn't matter for what carrier, always try and tie it to creating more revenue.
Okay.
Can I interject there correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan?
Yep.
When you use the figure of 30,000, is it correct, Nathan, that it's annualized and not earned?
Yes, annualized. So yes.
So that if somebody's paying monthly, Jake, and they've got enough that's going to equal that 30 grand, it's monthly,
Mhm.
it kicks in.
Yes. So if someone's writing it's a $200 a month target premium case, then the total premium for that one case that goes towards the bonus is $2,400, even if they wrote it in December of the end of the year.
Oh, wait, say that again.
All right. So someone's paying $200 a month for the premium for the IUL. You take 200 times 12, that equals 2,400.
Right.
This is a simple calculation. I know Debbie and Jake, we haven't really necessarily gone over, how this side works as much.
Right.
But there's a concept called target premium, and I'm just right now making the assumption that the premium that they're paying is the same as the target premium for the case. But
okay,
what that means is that 200 times 12, that's 2,400. That 2,400 is the total that's going towards the 30,000. So now they only have to write, 27,600 more.
Okay, and you were saying that is the case, even if they were to write it December 20th of 2022, that 2,400 is applied towards the calendar year of 2022. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Well, okay. That not that I would ever speak to that specific thing, because I guess I would think I've never experienced agents ask like, oh, so if I write it in month 3, is that all going to apply? They typically know. But that's, on a basis level, that's good to know.
Yeah, all the agents understand it, so it's not something that needs to be explained. That's just
Right.
Yeah. Debbie, any comment on that from the 20% as well?
No.
Debbie, all I hear when you're talking right now is it sounds like you're kicking yourself with your voice.
I'm just like, oh, I just want to get my script down, and I just want to get on the doggone phone. And that's my only, like, ugh.
I hear you on that. I mean, so, here's the biggest thing. Let's just take a step back outside of scripts and things like that. And I know we keep on going back to AIG Partners Group. There's tons of other things that can be said and to get people going and have the conversation. Again, we go back to AIG Partners Group just because there's not tons of agents contracted. Not every IMO has it. It's a great value proposition. It checks all the check marks basically. It's a good product and all those things. So that's why we go back to it, and we can create a simple value proposition off of it. And if they're not interested, then you pivot. That's
Right.
going to be where the real magic happens, of understanding how to change the conversation in the middle of your talk. But I'm going to do mine again real quick because it's been a while, and I'm going to go through it like I would go through it, and like I have way too many times. And like I said, don't be crazy about recreating the wheel, and then I'll talk about some things, other things that I noticed as well. And then, Jeff, if you want to give your, I know you're familiar with AIG Partners Group as well, or any script of what you're talking to with agents. Like what is your value proposition when you talk to an agent? What are you talking to them about, basically? So,
well, I use the presentation, the approach with the AIG or even some Metro. My conversation is to raise issues that the producer is or is not experiencing, and to get them to share with me what their current activity is. So what you say about AIG Partners is very effective, because from my experience, very few people know about partners distribution.
Yeah.
They know about life brokerage, and we've discussed this before, but the partners is kind of like flies under the radar. So it is a great way for me to open up the conversation. Now, in my discussions, it may not stay there, as you say. So I stay with what's worded, because there's no reason for me to ad-lib until I get the entire concept of what AIG has to offer. If it stays there, then I don't introduce anything else at that point. I will focus on it. And then once we get the rapport and we get a contract in, then I start opening up other ideas and other companies and so on. So, to tell you what I say, it comes as I hear what's being said to me. I can't really at this point address it any other way, Nathan.
That makes sense. Well, on that note, like I said, I'll go through mine then real quick. And Jeff, you'll be the agent for right now, since we did with everyone else. So I'm going to call you, Jeff, and I'm going to pitch you on AIG Partners Group. You can take it. You can be as nice or as mean as you want to, Jeff. All right. So ring, ring. Hello, is this Jeff?
Yes.
Jeff, this is Nathan from Praxis Agency Consulting Group. I know you get these calls all the time, so I'm going to keep this brief. And if you're interested in what I'm saying, if you're not interested in what I'm saying, you can feel free to hang up. But do you have 5 minutes right now?
Yes.
Great. So the reason I'm calling is I just wanted to see, first and foremost, do you offer term or index universal life within your practice?
Yes, both.
Great. So very simply, if I can talk to you about a carrier that would give you a 20% production bonus for selling the same type of products you are now, is that something that you would like to know more about?
Yeah, I'm always interested in hearing about additional income.
I mean, it's a pretty kind of a rhetorical question almost, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So I'm really big on transparency. So first off, I'm going to give you the carrier name. We're all in sales, but are you familiar with AIG Partners Group?
No, I'm familiar with the name AIG, but
I was going to say everyone's familiar with AIG. So to start off, AIG Partners Group is different than the AIG that everyone has. So AIG Partners Group is a limited distribution product that only about less than 15,000 agents have access to. The biggest difference between AIG brokerage and AIG Partners Group is that AIG Partners Group has living benefits built into all of its policies, including term insurance. Right now, Jeff, do you sell a lot of policies that have living benefits, or is that something you talk about with your clients?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. So here are a few other points about the product portfolio as well. So number one, since you're selling term insurance as well, the AIG Partners Group has a unique term. No other carriers has this, where they have a 10-year and then a 15 through 30-year term insurance plus the 35 years. So that means you can customize the term to whatever year you want to. For example, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, et cetera, all the way to 30. Do you think that's something that would be beneficial for some of your like mortgage protection clients or things like that?
Yeah.
I
have
would
not heard of anything where it's selective as far as years.
There's not a single carrier out there that has that kind of custom ability to do that, which makes those type of cases really easy. And then on top of that, do you do anything, and are you familiar with laddering?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, do you do anything with laddering, or are familiar with the concept?
Only when I go on the roof. No, Nathan, sorry, I don't.
Well, hopefully you don't go on the roof too much, especially in this weather. Well, laddering, very simple. So if this is all you get out of this conversation, Jeff, then this conversation would have been worth it to you. Laddering, all as it is taking, if someone needs $1 million of life insurance, instead of giving that client $1 million of life insurance for a 30-year term, you can actually ladder those policies and determine which needs they need. So for example, they have kids and they want to plan for college, and $200,000 of that million is for college, and it's for the next 20 years. And they want to replace their income, which that's 500,000. And so 500,000, and they need to replace that for the next 26 years, let's say. So that's what gets them to retirement. And then they have their mortgage, which they only have 17 years left on their mortgage. And that's another, let's say, what is it? 300,000. That gets me to $1 million. So now what you've done with your client is you've significantly reduced their cost because you gave them the insurance that they need. So instead of just selling a 1 million 30-year policy, you've now sold them 3 policies that reduce the cost. And with AIG Partners Group, you get a multi-policy discount, which means that price then even drops significantly. I know that hurts your pocketbook, but how happy do you think that client is going to be when you show them a laddering technique that reduces the cost of their term insurance? And are they going to give you referrals and be super excited about working with you?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Absolutely.
Concept.
Yeah, so we can teach you how to utilize that, but AIG Partners Group is one of the best carriers to do the laddering technique because of that multi-policy discount, plus the customized ability to do 16, 17-year terms and stuff like that. So that's on the term insurance side. Then going on to their IULs, which you mentioned you're also working with, They're extremely competitive. They boast one of the lower costs of insurance in the industries when you do comparisons. They have 2 uncapped indices. One of them that has a 110% participation rate right now, with, of course, it's still a 0% bottom floor. And they're also, their IULs go through accelerated underwriting for $1 million of death benefit or less, and is 49 years old or less. So they can still get the best rating from that also. Now, last thing is with that as well is AIG Partners Group living benefits. When you do comparisons to their living benefits to everyone else, is one of the best on the marketplaces. So that's another good point. And then the last thing I'm going to mention about them is I talked about that 20% bonus, that kind of hook that I gave at the beginning. So for working with AIG Partners Group in a calendar year, if you do over $30,000 of premium, anything above that, they're going to give you a 20% bonus on, plus the regular commission that you're going to get paid on. So the example that I usually like to get, if you do $50,000 total with AIG Partners Group, at the end of the year, you're going to get your regular commission plus a $4,000 bonus check for the difference between $30,000 and $50,000. Based on everything that I just said, is that a carrier that you would want in your product portfolio?
Yeah, I'd sure like to get more information, but everything you've just said interests me. Nathan, what I run into not quite a bit, but is people that don't have health issues. How are they when it comes to, chronic conditions?
Absolutely. So AIG Partners Group they're not on the more conservative side, but they're not completely liberal either. So they lean towards the liberal side a little bit on underwriting. But that's one of the things that within what we do is we have access, we have internal underwriting teams that work with us. We have platforms and technologies that will help you place those hard to place cases. So even if AIG Partners Group isn't a good fit for that, we have a lot of other carriers. And I know we're starting with AIG Partners Group and having that conversation. We're really big into earning agents' business and want to create a long-term relationship with them so that, we can help you out in other areas. I just know that in all my conversations with agents, that this specific product is a good thing to have in their product portfolio. But we would love to work together to make sure that those cases that you have health issues with, we're finding the right fit for them. Hopefully they're at AIG Partners Group, but if not, we have other options as well. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Great. So right now, do you work with Cheryl C or Assurance Bay for contracting?
I'm aware of them, yes.
Yeah, so we use the same thing. So it's online. I'll send you a link to get going on the contracting. Right now, though, is there a case that you're working on right now, whether it be simple term or an IUL, that I can send over a quote on?
Yeah, let's do this if you would. You have my email address?
I do. Let me confirm it to make sure that it's the best one. I have Jeff at Wella Financial. Is that the best one?
Yeah, that'd be, yes.
Perfect.
If you would send me over your contact information, I don't have time right now to give you all the, what you would need in order to give me some numbers. So if you'll kindly do that, I'll shoot you an email back with the info and we can go from there.
Sounds good. When are you meeting with the client next?
It's a good question. Nothing's been set up.
Okay, so I'll shoot you over my email. You're probably going to get 2 separate emails from me. One is going to be with contracting and the link and the instructions for that of getting on with AIG Partners Group. And then the second one is going to have information and microsites from AIG and how to do some simple quotes and stuff like that. AIG boasts some of the most resources that an agent can get access to without getting a writing number with them. So I'll make sure you send over that, as well as, I know you know what I would need to get a quote over, but I'll shoot you over some questions to make sure you have that. And the sooner you can get that over to me, sooner our team will run a quote for you so that we can see if this is going to be a good fit. But Jeff, truly looking forward to working with you. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll follow up in the next couple of days to make sure that the you don't have any questions about the contracting link and things like that. Okay.
Great.
Sounds good, Jeff. I will talk with you soon. Looking forward to working with you. Have a good day.
Thanks, Nathan. You too.
All right, bye. All right. So how, not Jeff, because Debbie and Jake heard the other ones and they've been working on it real quick, but Debbie, Jake, don't, not just because I did it, but what do you guys honestly think about that conversation and that, outline of the script? Like, I'm pretty much using the things outside of the only other things that I did in the script was there's a couple places that I stopped and asked a few more questions. But the bones of the script that we have in the band group, I went over all of those points basically. What do you guys think about that?
So for me, it comes across very smooth, right? But obviously I can tell that you've done it a million times. It flows really smoothly. And maybe that's my problem. Maybe for me, everything just feels really chunky. And when you do it, it just sort of flows like water.
And that's why so to address that point specifically, I've done this a lot of times. As everyone knows, there's 3 stages that you're going to go through with scripts in general. Is number 1, it's going to sound awkward. After you go through the awkward stage and you do it enough times, then you're going to go from awkward to being mechanical. And then from mechanical, so you knew all the parts, you know how it works. Then you move from mechanical to it sounding natural. And that just takes time. So here's the bottom line of it is, as long as you're doing the script, you will have activity and people to talk to. Don't get bogged down in, I have to get this script perfect before I talk to people, because that's how you learn and you get better at it. But there are some things within, well, before I say anything else, Jake, any comment on that as well?
I guess my question would be, Jeff played kind of an in-between of the characters where Jeff's character knew a fair amount, but he wasn't familiar with AIG Partners Group. And so I just wonder with the goal trying to basically, and again, I know there's a couple things I missed, but with the goal being trying to keep them on the hook, basically ending on a high note where they're salivating at something and agreeing to get contracted. You went through more detail than we did, or more detail than I did in explaining, the 2 uncapped indices and things like that, and then explaining and educating on the laddering part. And so some of that, I'm just curious on your part, was it more than was needed? Not my opinion that it was. I'm truly curious. Do you think, or did you feel that was at all more than needed? Because that was part of my goal, was trying to keep things more, although I'm bad at it, more brief, more to the point, not just volunteer information upon vomiting out information.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And so, well, let's address the first the question. You're saying more than needed. So needed for what? And I'm not going to, we're not going to dive into the question on that. But what I'm saying by that is, the reason that I went through more detail is because it was still engaging to the agent that I was talking to. Okay. So the point of something like this is the end of this script is you should be saying enough to earn the contract.
Sure.
But through that, that's where that engagement and asking questions. That's why, even though I have the points on here, what's not in the script that's in the band is questions that I stop and ask after explain something. So I go over the term insurance, and I mentioned mortgage protection and or laddering, and then I stopped because in the script there's not a point to stop and ask the question. But I said, hey, are you familiar with laddering? And if they say yes, then you move on. You don't explain anything. They said just expound the point of AIG Partners Group is one of the best carriers to do laddering with, bar none.
Sure.
And then you move on and from that point. But that's why I expounded on that, because it was an engaging moment that I was able to express something that I knew that the agent didn't, that I know is also going to be valuable to the agent to use within their practice.
Sure.
So that's where that part came from, of don't think about what's needed, think about what's engaging. That should,
Okay.
that should be the better question that you're trying to ask to get more in depth with that.
And I like that, because changing that reference helps me to think about it. Because again, I'm obviously, as I've joked about myself many times, I am always trying to make things faster for me since I expound too much. But putting it within those contexts, think about it from the standpoint of what's still engaging. That changes things. That changes the mentality. So.
Because if you're engaged with someone, I mean, you could spend 15, 20, 30 minutes. I mean, I would try to go past that. I would.
But that's the point, Ethan, is that what you have created is by the opening statement. Do you have 5 minutes? Is number one, showing the person you're talking to consideration, but you notice the time never came up again.
Yeah.
And if somebody is conversing with you, unless they say, hey, I've got an appointment in 10 minutes, I'm sorry, I gotta go. If it is of interest, they're going to continue to converse with you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Agents are notorious for that. as you very well know, Jeff, with your experience of talking with agents and things like that.
Right.
But, and so Debbie, to your point that just talking about your script, I mean, keep it simple. I would use those bullet points in the script that's already created. Like they work. We've done it before. I mean, this is the script that we have a call center out in the Philippines. People that they're trained, they're really good on the phones. So to be fair on that end, but outside of that, I mean, we had, it was 2.5 years ago now, maybe even 3 years ago, actually, that we had them do this for 3 months. And within 3 months, they generated over 500 leads of agents that raised their hand after they went through a script like this and said, yes, I'd be interested in talking to someone. And so this definitely works. Don't try to recreate the wheel, and learn those bullet points, and then just keep on doing it. And you'll make changes and things like the script. I haven't really changed too much, but there's things that I do within the script and places that, because it's natural to me, like this, you won't get to this stage until you get it to be natural and you understand the pieces. There's places that I add things and ad lib, of course, to be more engaging, but that's the whole point of it, is to ask questions, be engaging, express the value proposition, and get them to say yes to you sending a contract.
Yeah. And and just relax.
Other quick things, Debbie, with what you were talking about then as well, is and I know you didn't like a lot of things, but there's some things that I wrote down as things to address. So you mentioned free of charge.
Yeah.
For what we're talking about, the free of charge concept is a given. Like it's actually, it brings up more questions than answers for an agent, because they get these types of calls all the time, and no one's charging for this to get a contract, basically.
Okay.
So the free of charge point is brings up more questions, like, wait, free of charge, like, do you guys charge for something like this?
Okay.
So I wouldn't worry about bringing up the free of charge concept, because it's assumed within the industry, basically.
Okay.
The other thing is just within how you and a vet interact with each other.
Mhm.
When you're referring to a vet, I wouldn't refer to her as the agency owner, just because they're just, that brings up a certain other image of, oh, are you trying to recruit me to an agency, or are you trying to support me as an independent agent? I would use the term managing partner, just as a note.
Okay.
But those were, other than that, the only other thing at the beginning is, and I know it's in the script that I went over, is ask them what they do. Like you had that question like near the end about, hey, let me learn a little bit more about your practice.
Mhm.
Put that more at the beginning, because that's an open-ended question that's engaging and gets them talking about themselves. And you can do that multiple ways. You can ask me about your, ask about your practice, or you can make the assumption like I'm doing here of, are you selling this product? Are you selling index universal life? Are you selling term insurance? Because then your script goes directly into it. And if they say no, then you go on to the next person. Like, don't waste your time, because literally you can go through a pitch like that and then be like, well, yeah, I'm a health insurance agent and I don't even want to sell life insurance. Why are you talking to me about this?
Can I ask a question on that?
Go ahead, Jake.
Well, could she, and I know again, hers is a little different than where my focus is, but could she follow that up if they were to say, oh, no, I don't do that, with asking what they focus on? Because I guess in my mind, the reason why I say that is because, Debbie, as you remember, when we all learned about Symetra, there are other things in my mind that I think as you get better, and I know I'm looking at the future, but as you get better, you could open your own pivot doors. If they don't sell life insurance, but you come to find out, kind of like you and I spoke about, if they sell P&C, well, you could open up to, well, do you have a couple of minutes to talk about a carrier that I think would be great for P&C? And you could open up the Symetra focus. And so I would agree. Definitely don't look to have unnecessary conversations. But if you were to add that one in there, I think you could open, like you were talking about yourself, you open yourself up to pivoting options.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And that's kind of a determination of what you want to target market on, because like I said, I know marketers that literally their pitch is at the beginning, hi, my name is Nathan from, and I'll use Dressander because that's one of the few people that I know that, in that space. I'm from Dressander. Do you sell fixed index annuities?
No, Nathan, I don't actually.
All right, thank you, bye. And then they literally go to the next phone call, and that's all they're doing, because they're not trying to convince someone that they need to sell fixed index annuities.
Sure.
They're looking for the people that are already selling it, and they want to offer them a contract. So there's a determination of the type of people that you want to work with. We do not have to earn every contract.
Sure.
In fact, there are some contracts you don't want to earn.
Sure.
And agents that will just bog down your process. And that's part of what we're learning as we go along, and the type of agents that we want to work with, and what products and services we want to offer and things like that, and what we want to focus on, what the value proposition is. But that's all part of that process then as well, of what we're doing as we go along.
One comment I wanted to make, Debbie.
Hold on one second. Just
sure.
Because Debbie unmuted herself. Debbie, you have something to say?
Oh, no, I sneezed, so I muted.
Oh,
okay. That's fair. We appreciate that.
Debbie, I know you and I spoke about this before, but I think I may have made a mistake in not being more clearly explaining things with you. When you gave your pitch, I noticed, and I wasn't going to say anything in a minute, but you started to talk about the customization of the term insurance. And I just want to make sure that you say it accurately. because you actually gave an example that was for 12-year term insurance. And correct me if I'm wrong, the term insurance is actually only customizable between year 15 to 30. So it's either 10-year.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
So I just
I
want to
see that, yeah.
I guess if anyone ever gets on that hook, like if you just happen to catch that one agent that's in the middle of working with someone that has like the 12 years of a mortgage, you don't want someone to come and be like, yeah, totally. And then they try and do that. Like, wait, I thought I could. So.
Yeah. Thank you. I noticed that in there too.
No worries, no worries. Jeff, I know you were talking about a little bit of, well, Debbie, I know we're picking on you a little bit, but.
Oh, no, please. I mean, the script was Yvette's version of what, she thought it should sound like. So that was fine. And I've got the one from you, so that's fine. And I know which one I want to go towards, which is fine.
Yvette is amazing. Yvette is really good with clients. She's getting into this side.
Yes.
So she's
and I can feel her in this. I can literally hear her saying this exact spiel. I can hear her. So that's why it's kind of funny, because it's actually exactly what Yvette would do.
And absolutely, and that's the thing for like Yvette, because of that experience that she has, and she has that ability to pivot. Like that's something that she's going to be very comfortable with, and it's probably it'll work for her because she's a vet.
Right.
So for you, and this is where you'll have to, and you've, with your experience in your history, like you understand this, but you have to make the stand on yourself of this is what's going to work for me, and this is what I need to move forward with right now, because I know you're chomping at the bits just to get on the phone.
Come on already.
I used a horse reference because, Jeff, for you don't know, so Yvette owns a ranch, basically. And she helps specifically horses and that don't have homes and stuff like that. And she has a whole thing from Yvette loves horses.
Horses and dogs.
Horses and dogs, that is correct. I should include the dogs in there too. So Jeff, going to you real quick though, anything with the people that you're talking to and pitches that you're using, any questions or any things that you want anybody to critique on, or if you want to walk through anything on your end?
No, right now nothing comes to mind.
I would actually love to hear Jeff's initial general process that you were talking about before. Yeah. Just because it's different. Like I've been around a little longer than Debbie, and I've poked around things, and I've seen like back in band, there were some very generalized scripts. Let me introduce myself, and kind of like what Jeff is doing, just almost like fact finding and trying to see where we can help. And I would really be interested in hearing how you go about that, Jeff, if you would be willing, just from the standpoint of expanding. I've never done anything like that. I've gone with what Nathan and I have worked on, and it's been very targeted. So
yeah, I'd be willing to do that, but I'd like to set up a time where I'm actually making calls, and maybe come into the office and we can exchange and listen to one another.
Sure.
Because in this setting, frankly, I play off of what I hear.
Sure.
And while I have a theme, if you will, or an outline, like using the presentation, mine's more a gut. That's the only way I can put it.
Sure.
That for me, the main thing, Jake, is when I sit down, I'm relaxed, and nobody has ever called me out saying you're reading from a script.
Sure.
And if they did, I would say, well, quite frankly, I am, because everything I have to say is important and I want to make sure I convey it. So I do have some notes.
Mhm.
And that to me builds credibility. And that's my point, is that the words used is creating credibility. You're telling them and you're giving them significant information that's going to help them get revenue. And in turn, it's a win-win for everybody. Everybody, you see, I use analogies. It's like a rowing team. If everybody is rowing at the same time in the same rhythm, you're going to get through the water quicker than somebody that is out of sync.
Absolutely.
Right.
So,
What's the opening, like the question that you use at the beginning to start that conversation? Like, do you ask them about their practice? Do you ask something specific? What is it that you're using to start down that path?
boy, I don't know if I go directly to business, Nathan. If they're local, I'll maybe ask something local, initially, and then get into and transition into. Again, I pick up on one's inflection in their voice. If I feel that their voice is one that they're hurried, I'll even say, this doesn't sound like it might be a good time. They'll go, no, go ahead. And then I'm gambling, if you will, that is this person just being considerate and they're distracted, or are they really saying, go ahead? So again, it's, I'm also talking from a point that I've been doing this for some time.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I've learned to be relaxed and not look to initially go into the facts, if you will, but to see what kind of rapport the person at the other end that I'm going to be able to build with.
Sure.
So that's,
That makes sense.
I may be getting off a little bit more, and I apologize for that, but I can't dismiss it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, and you have years of experience within that, so it's a different story for you, what you're doing.
So,
so well, on that, Debbie, any other things on your end, since we're all together, that you have questions about, or things that can help you with what we've gone over?
Yeah, so the laddering thing, is laddering a big deal?
I don't know about a big deal, but it is certainly something that the whole idea of laddering is it reduces the total cost of the term policy. And that's a big deal for people that are selling term insurance. It only fits when you have a little bit higher death benefit amount. So I'm going to take a step back and explain this part. Have you ever heard the acronym DIME, Debbie?
No.
Okay, so DIME is an acronym that most agents use to simply find out the death benefit amount that a client needs. Jeff, I'm assuming you're familiar with it.
no, actually, I'm not.
All right, well then this is, all right.
Teachable moment.
Teachable moment. So DIME stands for debt and death. So the D stands for debt and death. The I stands for income. The M stands for mortgage, and the E stands for education. So debt, death, income, mortgage, education. Those are the four areas that life insurance agents use. The D is still one. That agents use to determine the insurable need of the client. So if I were walking through this and I was with a client and I'm not doing a full, financial needs analysis and things like that, and I'm just looking to understand, okay, this is how much insurance they need, and we're probably going to sell a term insurance because it's a cost thing.
Sure.
But I would say so we're going to walk through what's called DIME. This is going to help you determine how much insurance you actually need, because you're giving me a number, Mr. Client. You said you need $250,000. What did you use to determine that? I have no, I just heard that that's a good amount that I should get.
Sure.
Well, what I want to help you walk through is an activity that's going to help you find out what you actually need in case something like that were happen. So right now, total amount of debt outside of your mortgage, how much debt are you in? $10,000. That includes your car too. Okay, well, another 10. So I've got $20,000 total. All right, so on the death part that's talking about funeral expenses and things like that, right now, I'm just going to make it an even $10,000. Funeral costs are increasing. We can talk more about that, take a deeper dive, but let's just make it $10,000. So for the D, we have $30,000 total right now. I stand for income, and typically the rule of thumb is in the insurance world is to replace 10 years of income. That if something were to happen to you tomorrow and your income disappears, you would be replacing 10 years of that. Now, 10 is kind of the top tier. How many years of income would you like to replace if your income were to disappear for whatever reason?
Can I actually ask a question on that? I'm trying to
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Why are you talking about if it's death benefit? Why are you talking about if it were just income were to be disappear? Because wouldn't that be more
I'm not using the word death.
Okay.
Yeah, I've already expressed if something were to happen to you tomorrow and you get squished like a bug, I mean, you can be more specific. Yeah. So income right now, how many years of income would you like to replace?
Okay.
And out here it's 5 or 10. I'd like to replace the full 10.
Sure.
And then you ask, so how much annual income do you make right now?
Okay.
Make 50,000. Yeah, so $50,000, right? So that's 500,000. Then let's go on to mortgage. So mortgage right now, how many years left are on the mortgage? I have 21 years left on the mortgage. And I'll make it an even number, 200,000.
Okay.
All right, so great. And then education, do you have kids? Yeah, I have kids.
5.
How old are they?
Between 8 and
There you go. And do you want to pay for all, some, or none of your kids' college?
Oh man. Okay.
And we're not going to get crazy here,
Right.
just basic ballpark. So I mean, some absolutely sounds good. So for 5 kids, let's say that's going to be
10 years of equivalent, 2 years per kid.
Yeah. So let's say $200,000 then.
Sure.
Ballpark right now. We'll see what happens with costs down the
I was
road.
gonna
But
say.
so if we add all that up, that's 30,000, that's 500,000, that's 200,000, and that's another 200,000. So we're at 930,000 right now. So that's a little bit different than your $250,000, isn't it?
Okay.
Now, what most agents are going to tell you right now, Mrs. Client, is that we should, with your income and your age where you're at and getting to 65, getting your retirement, that's going to be another, let's say they're 35, just for easy math.
Sure.
And they're going to be, that's another 30 years. So most agents right now are going to sell you a $930,000 term insurance policy for 30 years. What I would much rather do is I'm going to do something called laddering. And we're going to ladder the policies for what you actually need. And this is going to be the way that we are going to help you reduce the amount of cost for your insurance. So you're going to get the maximum amount of insurance for the lowest amount of cost possible. And this is something that I'm very familiar with doing and would love to help you out. So we're going to do the mortgage for 21 years at 200,000. We're going to do the income at 30 years for 500,000 only. And then we're going to do the education because your youngest kid is 3 years old. So that's 18 years till they're 21. We're going to do 18 years at 200,000. And then we're going to do the death benefit at 30,000 and the debt. And we're going to do that only for 15 years because in 15 years, we should be able to reduce a decent amount of that debt.
Okay, I see.
So,
Right.
So that's 4 different policies that we'll add together. And that's going to massively reduce the cost. So based on that, you can run the numbers real quick. This is what it's going to be. And this is what it would be if I sold you a 30-year term policy. So as you see, the difference is literally hundreds of dollars per year that we're saving by doing laddering.
Okay.
So, I mean, that was a lot, but that is literally that was a 10-minute sales pitch on selling term insurance using the DIME methodology with laddering. And that's why doing that DIME allows you to find out the years that it takes to get to certain things.
Sure.
And then those are the policies that you create to do the laddering.
And so I know you made the comment, I don't know if it was you made a comment about one of what we said or what you were saying. No, it's what you were saying. Our agents, would there be any agents out there that would be like, well, I don't want to hurt my pocketbook like that?
If they are, then don't work with them.
Okay. But
those are sleep. I mean, if they're that worried about selling a term insurance policy and reducing that amount of cost, and they're like, I don't want to do that, flat up saying, listen, you're not the type of agent that I usually work with, because I work with agents that believe in helping clients.
Okay.
And if they're telling you flat out, then they are a sleazy agent.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
it's up to you if you want to work with them, but I'm just saying, like, that you're usually never going to hear that come out of someone's mouth.
So there really shouldn't be any reason people wouldn't see value in the laddering ability.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's going to be a decent amount of them that are going to be familiar with it. And that's why, like, the idea of AIG Partners Group, literally, because of the multi-policy discount, is one of the best carriers to do laddering with, hands down. So if they're familiar with laddering, you're just giving them a carrier that's really good at it.
Okay.
If they're not familiar with laddering, then you get to be the one to share with that strategy and to teach them how to use it, and then teach them a carrier that's going to be good with it. You're a freaking rock star, because their marketer never taught them that.
Sure. Okay.
Any questions on your end, Debbie, on that? Did that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. So are we saying that probably most agents do laddering?
I would say it's probably the lower percentage. So maybe we're on like maybe 30-40% of agents might know about it, but
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily the majority.
Okay.
And of course,
So I need to be familiar with what
statistics
that
are
is.
on the spot, so.
Okay. I need to be familiar with what that is, so that if I ask an agent, and you're familiar with laddering, correct, and they say no, then I can do a quick little pivot, explain what it is, and then move on,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now, do you have if someone asks what is laddering, how would you explain it right now?
I think I would just say something along the lines of, it's a way to add additional services for your clients and get a better cost for it.
So, and that's a good generalization. To make it super simple, of what it truly means is laddering means to buy multiple policies with different term lengths. And what?
And amounts, or does that like
In the amounts doesn't matter as much, but
it's really the lengths?
yes, it's buying multiple policies at different term lengths to reduce the cost of the total amount of cost, the cost for the client.
So if they didn't have the multi-policy discount, does laddering still function the same in doing that? Does laddering inherently lower the cost? But then
laddering inherently lowers the cost.
Okay. And then this just dramatically.
Exactly, but with the multi-policy discount, it lowers the cost even more.
Okay.
So literally, with you doing laddering with AIG Partners Group compared to anyone else, no one will beat AIG Partners Group price if you're doing laddering with them. If you do laddering with every other company and you pit it against AIG Partners Group, AIG Partners Group is going to beat out everyone else.
Okay.
So the example then, Debbie, is you're doing multiple policies at different term lengths to reduce the total cost of the term insurance. And the example of that then would be is a lot of agents, if someone has 500,000 hours of insurance they need to sell and they're going to determine for a 30-year term, they're going to sell 500,000 at 30 year. But if you break that apart and do a 200 at a 20-year and another 100 at a 15-year, and then another 200 at a 25-year, or maybe even keep it at the 30-year, then you've reduced the total cost of the policy And you can demonstrate that to the client and show them how much you save them by using that technique, which turns your clients into raving fans that will say, oh, my insurance agent showed me this. No other insurance agent showed me this.
Okay.
My neighbor, you need to talk with my insurance agent because I think they can help you reduce the cost of your term insurance.
Okay.
You know, blah, blah, blah.
Interesting.
Did you get all that, Debbie?
Yep.
Okay.
So this is me just exploring it at another level. Is it, so would that be a good idea of like, you explain it, pause, ask if they're familiar with it.
Yep.
If when a gambling man saying that fewer than a majority understand or know it,
yeah,
they don't know it. So you give the simple answer we just talked about.
Yep.
And then for the concept of we are to be building relationships, would that be then would that be something that we should inherently build into the idea of, hey, I actually would like to set up another time after you get contracted, and you can use this almost as a nudge to get them contracted, to actually go through an example of laddering to give you an example case as to how it can benefit.
Don't do example cases.
Okay, why not?
Ask them, what case do you have? Don't, because you get no value by teaching someone to do something in a void.
Okay.
Everything that you're doing from the market perspective is to get them to do something with the clients that they either currently have or the ones that they're trying to get. And you want to provide the solution for that, for their client. So I would, before saying, I'm just going to show you how it works and give you an example, ask them about one of their clients and hey, are you working with the client right now that you're selling term insurance to?
I remember that I didn't do that. And,
yes.
I was kicking myself in the butt.
Yes. Because that's the whole idea. I mean, getting a contract with someone is great, but the next stage then is getting the right business with it. So you're constantly asking, what are you working on? How can we help? That laddering technique that we showed, I mean, is there any clients that you've sold a term insurance policy to over the past, couple years that would maybe benefit from getting a review and doing a laddering technique?
Okay.
So that's a sales technique and strategy that you can use within that to get them more business and get you more business.
Okay.
But I know we've got 5 minutes left, but Debbie, any other questions on that end?
No, thank you.
Perfect. So Jeff, there you go. You learned about Dime.
Yes.
This was all worth it now. Any other last minute questions that anybody has? Awesome. Well,
I really like this.
Hopefully this is all recorded, so you guys, I'll put this on the YouTube channel later, and I'll post it in band that it is up and in the YouTube channel. Outside of that, last minute things, we'll of course we'll have a carrier come in next week. Nationwide should be coming in next week. I gotta get a confirmation, and then the week after, we have that agent facing webinar. I'm going to get all the information out to everyone in band and put it on LinkedIn, but we're going to do it on the what Ronnie touched on last week briefly on the federal employee marketplace.
Oh, so he's doing a second one.
We're actually going to do it because he's going to give me some materials. He's going to make a cameo, I think.
Got it.
We're actually going to dive into how to get those type of clients. Because Ronnie just has the platform.
Sure.
They don't actually take deep dives into but they're on American National is an approved carrier on the federal employee list,
right.
Which is all we need to know then to talk to agents about, if they want to get into that or look into it. It's a niche marketplace for sure, but again, it's a marketplace that for everyone here, it may not be even something that the agent is going to do, but it is something that agents are interested in because they all want to find a way to generate more leads. And just by you knowing about it, again, you create the expert in your brain, you can pitch them on something else and you can get them a contract for that just to get them over here. But I will say it is a very niche marketplace, and typically agents either, as Ronnie mentioned, they either are in it or they're not. But it is something that most agents hear about and are like, well, how do I do that? How do I get in? All we're doing is creating a internal ability to do that here, rather than them, if they want to get into that, they go to other places, basically.
Sure.
So we'll take a deep dive into that and have that recorded. But that'll be not next week, the week after. But with that said, I appreciate everyone's time. You all have a great rest of your day. Have a wonderful weekend. I don't know why I'm looking at Jake. I'm going to see you the entire day. But you all have a great weekend. If there's anything else that you need, let me know, and we will talk soon. So thanks, Jeff.
Oh, give me 30
Thanks,
seconds.
bye.
Oh,
Don't
wait,
hang up.
sorry, Jeff.
Don't hang up.
Don't hang up. I won't hang up.
I'm hanging up.
You hang up, Debbie.
Okay, bye.
Debbie, have a great day. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.